Usha Vishwanathan, Senior Project Manager in the FOSSEE project. So before starting, let me just tell you a brief about the FOSSEE project. So FOSSEE stands for Free, Libre and Open Source Software for Education. So our project actually promotes the use of FLOSS tools. FLOSS means free, libre, open source software. So our team actually promote these FLOSS tools, and we mainly aim to replace the commercial software where you have to pay a lot of license fees and all. So we actually try to replace those commercial software with the free and open source software, where it is a legal software, but you don't have to pay any licensing fee. So we also actually develop existing FLOSS tools, as well as we also develop new FOSS tools. So eSIM, which we are going to have the workshop for these 3 days, is a software which is developed by the FOSSEE team. So eSIM is an open source EDA tool for circuit design, simulation, and you can also do PCB design using this. So we have actually integrated 2-3 open source software to come up with eSIM. So we have KiCad for the circuit simulation and all, and circuit schematic creation, then ngSpice for the simulation capability, and we have GHDL, which actually give us the power of mixed mode simulation. So all these facilities which are available in eSIM are freely downloadable, and you can actually download this software and you are free to use. So our first session today will be actually taken by Professor Kannan Moudgalya, who is actually the principal investigator of the FOSSEE project. So he will talk about our whatever is our ideology and what FOSSEE is for. So everything he will actually give a very detailed explanation to you all. So once again, welcome to this workshop, and just in 2 minutes, Professor Kannan will be joining. So we will just wait for him to join. Yeah, he already has come. Good morning, sir.
Hi, Usha.
Hi, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So I just was talking a brief about, telling a brief about eSIM and the FOSSEE project. So
yeah, please go ahead, because I think there are many people. I don't know whether everybody has come or we have to wait for some time. We can wait for a few minutes.
We have 95 participants now.
Out of that, some are...
We are also there. Yeah, some are our team only.
So we can wait for maybe 5 minutes and then start.
So actually, eSIM is developed by us, and we are very happy that you all have thought of joining this workshop and start using eSIM. So it is freely available, and it is actually a very nice software which we have come up with. So let us just start using this open source software. So apart from eSIM, we also have many other software which we promote. For example, Scilab, which is actually an alternative to MATLAB. So we also promote other software like Scilab, Python, and R, DWSIM. So for example, DWSIM is a software which is mainly used for process simulations by the chemical engineering field. And similarly, we have OpenFOAM, which is actually used for computational fluid dynamics problems in mechanical engineering, aerospace, and these kind of fields. So we also have many other software available which we are promoting, and we also have some workshops also coming up on these software. So all these things you can actually go and see in the NME ICT webpage, where you actually registered for the eSIM workshop. And we also have a lot of support which we provide for this software. If you are stuck and having some doubts and all, then definitely we have a forum where you can actually ask the questions. So everything will be covered by Professor Kannan in his introduction. So please feel free to ask any questions, and also take the maximum advantage of this workshop, and also the open source software tool which we are actually offering to the academic and the research community. Thanks.
For many of the things, you will find eSIM to be actually good enough for all the things. In fact, we are trying to see if eSIM will meet all the requirements so that you don't need another simulator. One reason being, many students are still away from the campus and they don't have access to the commercial version. That is one reason. The other reason is we hope that at least some of them will become entrepreneurs. They will start their own companies and so on. They might even do it as a hobby after their bachelor's degree. And if they use any academic version, they will get into trouble. So we believe that what we are creating here can be used because even industry people can use this free of cost. They don't have to pay, and they will be doing it legally. Yes. Thank you, Moudgalya.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm basically a chemical engineer, but I also have a degree in electrical engineering. I have a master's degree in electrical engineering with a major in control and minor in computer engineering. And it was mainly hardware kind of work. I remember in 1985, when I completed the master's program in electrical engineering, we actually created a VLSI circuit, and we in fact sent the files to a foundry, and we even got the chip made. And it's the chip is in my office. I still have it with me, with all the things that we did to create it. It was a programmable sweep frequency generator. That's what we created. It was an interesting project. There were, I think, 4 or 5 of us, I don't remember, who were in my group. And we decided to do this using programmable logical controllers. Okay. We designed the whole thing. We laid out the whole thing. And then they gave us the dimensions of the wafer, where it will come. And when we tried to put, we found that there was not enough room to put the wires. Okay. Then fortunately found it was a 32-bit circuit that we were building. Fortunately, we found that not all 32 wires were going to all parts of the circuit. So we divided into 4 quarters, and we found that in most places only 8 wires could go. As a result, we found that without changing the design, we could place the entire thing in the wafer they had given. Because we used a programmable logical controller, it was the circuit was becoming bigger, but it was easy to build. There were some other groups that had built completely using transistors from first principles. Their circuit was much smaller. But in the next semester, we got the chip made, and it was given to us. That's the chip I was going to use. I was going to show you. If I get a chance, I'll show it. I think it is in my office. Unfortunately, none of the 4 groups had working product. Remind you, that was the first time the chip was made at Rice University, where I was doing my PhD in chemical engineering and master's in electrical engineering. That was the very first time wherein we sent our circuits to a foundry. And that was an experimental foundry that was created to support academic institutions, talking about 1985. Okay, that was 36 years ago. none of the circuits worked, none of the chips worked. But you can understand there could have been many problems like, for example, maybe wires were too close, maybe there was a short somewhere, maybe some design parameters were not chosen properly, maybe there was a problem in the manufacturing. So we don't know what happened, but it was an interesting experience we had. There were totally, now I know exactly, there were totally 20 students in the class. Initially, they said no to me because I was a chemical engineer. They said they would give a priority to electrical engineering students. And then one day I was walking in the parking lot, and there was Professor Jump. He stopped and said, "Hey, there is one vacancy. One fellow decided to drop out. Would you want to take this course?" I said, "Definitely." So that's how I took that course. So it's an amazing course. Before that, I had done a course on digital logic design. The maximum circuit that we built in that was to build an A to D converter using a DTA chip, and I think it was a 6-bit thing, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, we were all given breadboard. Everything was given, complete set. We are supposed to do that and then demonstrate. We had another course, followed that with digital system design. Digital system design course was another interesting course that I did. There we had to work with a single board computer. Okay, we were using Z80 or Z80. Z80 single board computer we were given. The very first experiment there, very first lab that we did was very exciting. I still remember this day, that experiment. So I would like to share that with you. Some of you may actually find it useful. In that computer, single board computer, we had to write a program with infinite loop. Okay. So it would do something like go fetch the code from somewhere. And then it will say read the code. Now, as you start reading the code, line by line, instruction by instruction, you will come across. At some point, it would say, read some data from storage. So read. So that means you are reading lots of things. You are reading the code from wherever it is, load it somewhere, and then you will read the instruction, first instruction, second instruction. Then there is a read a data value from somewhere, read it. So that way you see that lots of reads. There was only one write statement. So one write statement and everything else was read. So you read that data value, write it back. Then read, and the program ends. Okay. Now, in a microcontroller, for every instruction, you have cycle time. How many cycles? How many clock cycles? 2 cycles, 3 cycles, 5 cycles, whatever. So we were supposed to add all the clock cycles, and it came to 27 clock cycles. I still remember that number, 27 clock cycles. Can somebody tell me how I would verify this experimentally based on whatever I told you? Based on whatever I told you, can you explain how one can experimentally find that it would take 27 clock cycles? Can somebody tell me? I've given you enough information. Anybody? You can even put it in the chat. Anybody putting it in chat? Let me just check. Okay, nobody has given. We had a scope. Let me give a hint. We were given a scope. Okay. Can somebody tell now? Okay, I'll tell you myself. Remember, I told you there were a lot of read cycles. Okay, lot of read instructions, but there was only one write instruction. So as a result, there is a microcontroller has a flag called write, and that write flag will go up only once during one iteration. It's an infinite cycle. So what we did was we connected our scope to the write flag. Okay. After every 27 cycles, that write flag will go up. Go up, come down, 27 clock cycles, go up again. Okay. So you would see nice pattern. Okay. I still remember. It's an incredible thing. Then you see that, hey, you know, this, what is this single board computer? What is this digital device? You know, I can understand whatever I did in the class, whatever I learned about, you know, combination logic, sequential logic in this case, was really happening. That there is a clock cycles. Okay, it's an incredible experience. And so we did a course, digital logic design, and then second course was digital system design. This ZIT lab was the first lab in that. We actually did many things in that lab. We even interfaced RAM. RAM was, in those days, I think we interfaced 1 kilobyte, something like that. Very small, or 256 bytes. Okay. So, because memory was very expensive in those days, right? So that was the experience I had. So I thought that I will share that with you. I don't know if you have any questions, you can ask me, and I'll be happy to share that. Otherwise, we can move on. Okay. So one of the things that we did as FOSSEE, let me share my screen now because I want to show you a few things. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me just go to, we will come back to this a little later. Okay, I don't know why this system is very slow. So I wanted to go to our website, fossee.in, and you see the picture of Dr. Abdul Kalam, our beloved former president. He says that the most unfortunate thing is that India still seems to believe in proprietary solutions. So he says that we need to have open source code software. In India, open source code software, okay, this is a very important statement that he's making, will have to come and stay in a big way for the benefit of our billion people. So Dr. Abdul Kalam said, this is the only way we are going to make some of these latest technologies available to the billion people we have, right? It's an amazing thing. So Scilab, Usha actually mentioned Scilab, Python, eSIM. eSIM, by the way, used to be called OSCAD. If you do some search, you'll find OSCAD. But then Cadence people came and told me that OSCAD sounded more like ORCAD. Will they, will we consider changing the name? And some of my colleagues were unhappy about changing the name because we spent a lot of time to come up with the name OSCAD. But then I thought that Cadence was a big company, was in business for many years, whereas OSCAD had come into existence only 1 year ago. So just in 1 year, we have done incredible work that Cadence thought it was important for them to talk to us. So I thought that that was good enough. So we actually changed the name from OSCAD to eSIM. Okay, of course, the old OSCAD is quite old. eSIM is, really improved, a lot more developed, and so on, right? Then we have OSDAG. DWSIM, Usha talked about, OpenFOAM, she talked about, Open Moudgalya. OpenPLC is a hardware project. Okay. Now, you can see that it is a fully free, libre, and open source programmable logic controller. Okay. In fact, we even wrote a paper on that. Let me see if I can pull that out. Okay, this is another thing that we did. Microcontroller experiments through Arduino and Scilab. This is hardware with Arduino. Only thing is we used a shield for this. We are still trying to, actually we wrote this book. You can see that this is a book by Prof publishers. You can see Manas was our main author, and then he subsequently did his MTech at IIT Bombay. We further expanded this to accommodate Python, Julia, and Open Moudgalya. Interfacing through those languages also into Arduino, not just Scilab and Xcos, right? So that work is still, the book is ready. Only thing is the manufacturer who can make the shield, he's temporarily closed his unit. So we are trying to identify new people who can do that. And unfortunately, it is taking time. In the meantime, we thought that we would make the same thing available through breadboard. And then we will incorporate this in the book. So there is a delay. That's why we didn't come up with the second version of the book. In fact, if you see here, let me just see. Okay, this is by the way, this is a conference paper. In fact, I just finished that payment yesterday. Let me show this also. Okay, let me minimize this. Not this. This is a paper that you see. I just paid the conference fees. This is a paper, in fact, on eSIM, open source EDA tool for mixed signal and microcontroller simulations. And all people here are with you. All of us will be talking in this, giving talks here. Ashutosh Jha is a graduate of VIT Vellore. You can see that. He worked with us for some time. In fact, he was with us for, I think, a whole semester. Then he went and joined a company. But all of us will come and cover eSIM, right? And let me see, what else do I want to say? Yeah, I wanted to show you this. Programmable logical controller. This is what I was talking about. Open source. Remember where we were? We were here, OpenPLC, and we wrote this paper. It's available for public to use. And so this explains what the board, PCB, and then you have fans. This is for the lift and so on. And this is the Gerber output, PCB made using that. By the way, all of that is made using eSIM. Then you have a baseboard, final assembly, and then we wrote this paper in a conference that that was held. Let me see if I can find this. I went and presented this in Washington, DC. Yeah, it doesn't say here, but it is a hardware conference in Washington, DC. And you can see the authors, Vishnu, Nivedita, Akshay, Rajesh, myself, and this person is at Austria, and he's in Vienna, and he came up with a protocol called FODIAC. And so we validated FODIAC on this OpenPLC. In fact, we sent our hardware to him, and then he modified. He said, if only you implement this change the circuit like this, it'll work. And then we did that. Now, Tiago, at the time of writing this, he was in Alabama, but he is actually from Portugal. To him also, we sent him a board, OpenPLC, and then he also suggested some small change so that his open source code, his open source PLC is also called OpenPLC. He could make it work. And but then we had to make some changes, and then we all wrote this paper together. And then it's very interesting because we gave them the hardware and they gave the software. Normally we take somebody's hardware, we write the software, but it's the other way around. So I thought it was very interesting. But look at this, open source hardware and software for massive training, right? That is a paper, and we are talking about, let me see if I want to show something. Yeah, here it is. That's what I wanted you to see. We have attempted to create affordable, programmable logical controllers that can be used to train millions of students in developing countries. Okay. This work is also in progress because once again, we need to provide a stable supplier so that you can just go and buy that. Of course, we'll be happy to share the Gerber file in case somebody wants to make it, in case somebody wants to join any of our hardware projects. Rajesh Kushalkar is the manager who leads this team. Okay, that is something I wanted to. Of course, we have done a lot of work in data acquisition and control. You can see that we had used GNU radio for data acquisition and control. But then we found later that Scilab is probably good enough. XCOS is good enough. We have XCOS on the cloud. We have eSIM on the cloud. In fact, that reminds me, let me show you our schedule for this workshop. Okay, so I'm talking, this is the one, and then Professor Mahesh Patil will come and join at 10:45. He has a class till 10:30. Then you will do a lot of different things. In the afternoon, you can see that demo on PSpice 2 KiCad converter. In this, we will see that if LT Spice to KiCad conversion can also be covered. And then eSIM on cloud, FOSSEE team will talk about. This is Nagesh and Firuza will talk. And then our own FOSSEE team, eSIM team will talk about eSIM software development, how it will benefit students, faculty, and professionals, and how you can contribute. Okay. And then the way we have done is we are giving you homework every day. Okay. We have to complete the practice problems. By the way, I'm going to talk about some of these things shortly, so I will take it up later. Overnight. So we always give homework, and it's a 3-day workshop. You'll come tomorrow. That is the disadvantage we had in 1-day workshop. We used to offer some of these as 1-day workshops, but then we could not give homework. We could not help. So what we do is we give homework. Whatever you don't finish, you'll have to do it as homework. And next morning, you will see that, oops, did I change something? Let me just see. No, this is an overnight thing. And immediately tomorrow, 9:30 to 10, by the way, this is optional. So we have written it, right? This is optional discussion of practice problems. Whatever you had difficulty with, come tomorrow morning. Our people will come half an hour early to address the difficulties that you might have. Okay. So this is fine. Let me move on. So here, what are the other FOSSEE activities under eSIM? We'll give a talk because we want to tell you in how various different ways you can actually contribute. For example, this Sumanto, right? He was a FOSSEE fellow 2020. We had a FOSSEE summer fellowship in last summer. Even though it was pandemic, people could not come. They all contributed remotely. By the way, it is Sumanto who wrote that LT Spice to KeyCAD converter. So we have a lot of opportunities available, and you are welcome to join in some of these. Okay. Of course, in order to get selected by us, we always give a screening task. Only people, and the screening task, we tell how to learn, what to learn, how to solve it, how to address it. But only people who can make a reasonable progress in those can join us. Okay. So that's a prerequisite. You have to demonstrate that you're willing to learn. You have to demonstrate that you can actually solve a problem that we give as a screening task, and we select the people who have provided the best solution, right? And typically, many people have told us that they didn't even know about the software. They started learning for this, and within a span of, let's say, 3 weeks or 1 month, they were able to do the screening task, sometimes even 2 weeks, they were able to do, but they were passionate, they worked hard, they completed. So it was not like, it gives an advantage to somebody who worked on it for many years. Even people who had worked on it only for 2 weeks could get selected. Okay, it's a question of how passionate they were and so on. Then we have invited talk. We have a live session here, device modeling. We have an invited talk. Professor Sabin Sripati, Institute of Technology, and then Professor Maheshwari, VIT Chennai. They are actually going to talk about how they used eSIM, how they are using eSIM in their curriculum. We also have an expert, Vladek Grabinsky, who will talk about some of the FOSS tools for compact modeling. Okay, this is tomorrow, by the way. And then we have overnight, please complete the practice problems. And then third day, once again, we start with discussion of practice problems. And then you will learn a lot of different things. And then in the afternoon, we have talk by Professor Madhav Desai. You would have noticed that Professor Madhav Desai is one of the authors in the papers that I showed earlier. Madhav Desai is an amazing person. Why? Because he is one of the 2 people in India, one of the 2 groups in India that created our own processor. He has called it Ajit processor. In fact, I have asked him to talk about the Ajit processor, how they implemented it using first hardware. They had this big unit, they validated it, then they went for silicon, and it got made in Chandigarh. After that Chandigarh fire got because of fire, the Chandigarh facility got burned down, and it was resurrected recently. And in that he brought that facility was brought up, and they produced it. It's an amazing piece. We can even ask him to show that. I have a picture of that. In fact, now Saurabh, who leads Saurabh Bansode, who's the second author in the paper that I just showed you on eSIM, he is leading this project. In fact, he is going to be the main person for this workshop. He's the one who knows, he knows eSIM in and out. Okay. In fact, you can see his picture here. Okay. Saurabh Bansode. He is now working with Professor Madhav Desai on the Ajit processor. And there are many exciting stories. And we are, in fact, thinking about running several follow-up courses on Ajit processor. We are still creating instructional material. And then I'm happy that Saurabh is working. And then we have another staff member by name Vishnu Ishwaran. He's also working. He also used to be in eSIM. He has also gone to Professor Madhav Desai team. Then we have Professor Kimberly Moraes. Then we talk about benefits of contribution to FOSSEE's eSIM efforts. Okay. So this in a nutshell is some of the things that we are trying to do. Now, let me explain to you how we will conduct this workshop. Okay, because you might have noticed here For example, by the way, 11 to 12, we will go through the installation. Okay, installation and system check for the installed software. So actually 1 hour is probably not required. So even if we get slightly delayed, because I'm going to take a little more time, and because I thought that this is something important that you should all know. Previously, it would take a lot of time, but then Rahul Patnikar, in fact, he's the first author of the paper on eSIM that I showed you a little while ago. So he cleaned it up and made it now working in Windows 10. And of course, we created it on Linux, Ubuntu. Ubuntu, it works on version 16, version 18, version 20. It works on all of them. Okay, I'm pretty sure you can make it work in some of the old versions of Ubuntu also, right? So we have time. So even I will get delayed a little bit, but I think it is okay. I think if I'm not mistaken, maybe half an hour is enough. Even if it a little more time is required, this is okay, because if you don't complete this, you can always do it as homework overnight. Okay. What I wanted to talk about is the spoken tutorial. You see this spoken tutorial session? We keep talking about this. Many of them will be done through spoken tutorials because a lot of work, a lot of effort has been taken to create these tutorials. Okay. So let me explain this using a picture. I want to explain to you what goes into creating this instructional material. That is extremely important. If you understand that, after a while you will see that, whoa, my students should also use it. It has been created with such care, right? So what I'm going to do is CD spoken paper McMasters. Okay. So we actually, let me open this JHETP manuscript PDF. It is a paper that we wrote. I wanted to focus on this. Okay. By the way, this paper is on this forum, which I will show later, timed discussion forum for novice users and self-learners of spoken tutorials. We will discuss this, but let me all those spoken tutorials that you will use are based on a script. Okay, we use a script, right? But then we don't use the script directly. We ask the question, can a beginner understand this script? Script means what? Like movies have a script, our tutorials also have a script. We ask the question, can a beginner understand the script? Most of the time the answer is no, because the script is created by an expert. So what do? We ask them to improve the script, because our tutorials are created for beginners. Our tutorials are created for novice, people who are not exposed to this software, for example, and they should be able to understand. And we believe that is the reason why spoken tutorials became very popular. A lot of people are learning by themselves. In fact, we trained 70 lakh students using spoken tutorials. So fortunately, in our experience, we found that almost every time a beginner can understand. We can make a beginner understand if we put in enough effort, and the script is so well written, you record it, it becomes a good tutorial. So that is something I wanted to talk about. That's how we create spoken tutorials. So I would say that creation of spoken tutorials requires, in my opinion, about 10 times the effort required to create what I call an extempore talk. Extempore talk means you ask an expert to come and talk about their subject matter. They come and talk extempore like the way I'm doing now. Okay. And what is the effort involved compared to the effort involved in spoken tutorial? You will see that spoken tutorial requires about 10 times the effort, right? So it is created with a lot of care and, simple English and everything has to be validated. We in fact conduct pilot workshop, verify that everything is okay. If in the pilot workshop we have a problem, we go back and improve the tutorial again. Okay, so we don't launch anything until we validate this in many different ways, right? Now, in order for this workshop to be effective, you need to follow certain methods, and that is what I'm going to explain to you. Okay, so let me it's here. Okay, let me go to users, because we recommend that you use offline version. Let me see if I can sort it. Did it added? Okay, it's not coming. Users, I should see it in downloads. Okay. What is our folder called? Can somebody tell? Usha, Saurabh? Oh, it is called DOSTGV5C zip. So why did you change it like this? Okay, because you created something. Okay, fine. Now I got it. All right. Only file name was a problem. So you will have a file called spoken. We want you to use the offline version. And then if you unzip it, you will have a folder called spoken. In that, you will have a file called index.html. And let me open it. You can see eSIM, right? Select language, English. Whatever language we want to use, we can make available. We dub it into all of our 22 languages. So you can see that you have all these things available. And our people will tell you what tutorial to watch at what time. Okay. So let me go back to this. We want you to learn using the side-by-side method. Okay. So what do I do in this? I will, of course, you are welcome to go through this whenever you have time. It's a tutorial that I created. In this, what we want is, we will shrink the video to half the size. For example, let me go to the next page. Schematic creation and simulation. Okay. So what I will do is put it here. Okay. So I will keep it here. Then I have the software also. So the software, of course, because I'm using a Mac, I don't have eSIM running on this. Although I have an Ubuntu emulator, I can possibly, could have shown that. What I will do is I will reduce the size. Okay. So I can actually create this. I can listen to this.
Welcome to the spoken tutorial on schematic creation and simulation. Are on the editor.
So for example, Usha is telling, by the way, Usha created this tutorial. She is saying that take the pen, keep it here. I will do the same thing in the software. I open the eSIM software, I do that. So in other words, I listen to the video, pause the video, try it out. If it works, listen to the next command. If it doesn't work, rewind, listen to the same command again and try it again. It will always work because it is created for self-learning. Because it is created for self-learning, you can follow this one instruction at a time. Now, why do we say that you want to show them side by side? Why not maximize? For example, why not maximize it and then do the tab, control tab, and then go somewhere? The problem is that you may actually end up in a wrong place, right? For example, now also I don't know how to get back. Okay, let me just see. This you have. There you are. Okay. So I get lost because you do the control tab, you cycle, you forget you have so many tabs opening. then you get lost, you went to the wrong one. So that will not happen here, right? Here we are saying, look, your focus must be on this only, whatever you see. Don't do control tab, right? You listen to a command, practice it, and then go to the next one command at a time. You complete it. You can always do that because it is created for self-learning. So that is the first thing that we want to show you, that it is important that that you follow the side-by-side method. Another reason, another very important reason, especially for beginners, is that it reduces the cognitive overload. What do? You see it, practice it, see it, practice it. Thereby, whatever you type, you are actually having a look. Okay, what did we do there? Do it here. Whereas when you open a new screen, you've forgotten what it is. After all, you're a beginner. You don't remember. Everything didn't register. So that becomes a cognitive overload. And that cognitive overload is minimized by this method. And the importance of cognitive overload has been emphasized by many researchers. I can give many research papers on that for you, right? So let me go back. Let me go back here. Then we have forums, and then we have supplementary material. I'll come to the forums shortly, but I want to take up supplementary material next. Okay, this is extremely important because sometimes we show some method and then say, look, you can follow the same method. It will take about half an hour for you to do it, but don't worry, I have done it. Start with this, right? So we give it through something called, code files, right? So where is it? Once again, these are here. Let's take this mapping components and with footprints. Now, this is a spoken tutorial created by Saurav Bansode. He is the person who leads this project. So look at this code files section. So if I click this, it'll say it's a zip file. You can save it. Okay, you can save it, and then whatever is required in that video is available here. Okay, and one of the things that we want you to do, please make a note of this. We want you to make a copy of this folder. Don't use the folder directly. Make a copy. Why do I say that you should make a copy? Because sometimes in Windows, you think that you have extracted the file, but it is not even extracted. It is not extracted, right? So you try to use it in eSIM. eSIM will say that file is not found. Why the file is not found? Not because of eSIM's mistake. Okay, you will immediately say, hey, eSIM has a bug. It's not able to open the file. Sorry, that is not the reason. The problem is because you didn't extract it. You thought that Windows extracted, but it didn't extract. You try to copy. If it is not extracted, you cannot copy. Then I will ask the question, is the command copy, does the command copy have a bug? You will realize immediately you didn't extract. You must extract. Okay. Another reason for making a copy is sometimes you make changes and you make mistakes. Okay. So you don't have to extract once again. You copy it because you have the original folder, make another copy. Use it. Okay. This is extremely useful. You must make a copy of the folder and don't try to create these files from scratch. For every tutorial, just check if there is a code file. That's a standard operating procedure. I want you to write down. For every tutorial, is there a code file? If there is a code file, at an appropriate time in the video itself, we will say, open the code file, you must open. So for your convenience, code file is given here, right? Very important. So that is the thing that I wanted to talk about. Supplementary material. Of course, when you have time, you can go through this in a little more detail. But let me talk about the forum. Spoken tutorial forums are extremely important. Using this method, we can, and using spoken tutorials, we can conduct workshops for even 1,000 people. We can answer their questions without any problem. Okay. In fact, That's a forum that the paper that I talked about. Remember that? I think, is it here? Yeah, it's one of those files. Maybe I minimized it. And this is the one, right? This is a paper that we presented in the conference in the month of, I think it was November or December in McMaster University. And immediately it was published by Springer. Then a journal contacted me, a Journal of Higher Education Theory and Practice. That's what JHETP stands for. And they have an impact factor of 13.8. So they contacted me and said that they would like to consider this manuscript for publication, and it went for review, and they decided to publish it without any changes. So that is the manuscript that I'm showing. In this, we are talking about timed discussion forum. Okay, so timed discussion forum. Professor Mahesh Patil, sorry, I'm taking a little more time. I hope it is okay. I'll take another 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, okay. Professor Mahesh Patil has come. He's an amazing person. He created another software, and long before we even thought about all these things, he released it as for free use by academics and so on. So sorry to keep him waiting, but this explaining how to use the forum is extremely important. So I'm taking liberties to do that. Now, forum is extremely important. Let me just show you where to access it. Okay, can I do it here? Okay, let me open a new tab here and go to forums. Okay, easier thing is to go to spoken tutorial page. Go to spoken tutorial. That's easy to locate. Just do a web search on spoken tutorial. You will get this. See this photograph. You'll remember this. And then there is something called forums here. Okay, click this. If you click this, it will take you to this page. Let me just see. So here I have logged in. So I have logged in, so I can ask a question, but I can also, so let me see. We have asked all of you to register in the spoken tutorial forum. If not, you must register after Professor Patil's talk during the installation time. You can also register in the spoken tutorial. This forums page, it is extremely important, right? Let me just show you what this looks like. I think I just logged out. Let me log in. Yeah, this is the forum. You have to register here, right? You have to register here. If you have already logged in and saved the password, you can log in. So, so let me just log in through that. Then you have all the questions asked on spoken tutorial. I told you through that we are promoting various software topics, software systems, and as they come chronologically, as questions are asked, they get presented here, they get answered, and so on. Now, what I suggest is next to the software, you have this lens. See this? See this lens? Now, if I click this, then only questions asked on eSIM will come here. Okay, and in this, eSIM has lots of tutorials. You saw that, right? So, for example, this is the one on schematic creation and simulation. Let me click this. If I click this, what am I clicking? It's a lens next to schematic creation. If I click this, only questions asked on this tutorial will appear. Okay. Now you have lots of questions asked on this schematic creation, right? Previous users and so on and so forth. Those questions may be useful to you, right? Only thing is, once again, it becomes difficult because there could be, let's say 50. In fact, there are 20 here. There are 20 here, 40, maybe another, let's say 10, 50 questions. How do I find out whether my question has been asked already? So what do? I click here minutes. If I do that, then all questions asked between 1 and 2 will appear first. Okay, for example, here somebody is asking not able to do this, problem in changing the component values, KiCad to ngSpice conversion, whatever it is. So let me see if I can click this. Now, of course, I'll first let's see how. So by doing this, you will be able to find out whether the problem you have is already answered, right? So let's, so 103 views are there and there is one answer to this. Let me click this. So this person asked this question, even though I generated netlist, when I'm clicking conversion option, it is showing us project does not contain any KiCad netlist for conversion. So the answer is, please make sure the generated netlist of SPICE format, that is, it has extension of .cir. Yes, generated netlist of SPICE only, but even it is showing the same. Then he says, please make sure that you have selected the right project. Then click on the conversion tool. So once again, these are all answered by Saurabh. This is, it turns out he's a VIT student. See, some student here, Reddy 2019, Abhinay Reddy, for example. And if you have, you can even add a comment if you want, right? Of course, you know, mind you, in order to ask this question, you should have logged in. If you are logged in, you can ask a question. If you haven't logged in, you can only see. You can only observe what people have done. For example, you might have some other issue, related issue. You go and post your question. The moment your question appears, it appears on the, it'll appear. For example, let me say test question. I have an additional question on this topic. Post comment. Okay. So what does it do? It comes here, right? I have an additional question on this topic. I'm not sure whether this comes here. Let me just see, go back here. Schematic creation. Okay, it still hasn't come, not able to connect via KiCad to ngSpice conversion. Usha, can you please alert Nancy on this? Maybe I'm not using the new version. Okay. Yeah, we are in the process of implementing it so that my name should have come here. My name should have come here. We are working on that. It is, I verified it, it is okay, but we have not rolled it out. But we should.
Sir, I will do that, sir.
Yeah, ask her to release it. But anyway, you can go there and then you can see this. Of course, because I'm an admin, I can edit this. Let me see if I can delete this. Oh, I cannot delete this particular thing. Okay, so what I will do is I'll just delete this thing. Say, this is not the best way. I should have deleted, but it is okay. At least I have deleted that, right? So by doing this, what happens is there are many benefits in using the forum. I want you to use the forum. All of you should use the forum if you have a question. Now, how do you ask a question? Let me ask a new question. So here I commented on a question that I already asked. Now I'm going to ask a new question, right? See this? Ask a question. You're still in forums. Ask a question. Then you have to say, you will select a category. I will select eSIM. Then I will select the tutorial, and here it comes in the order, let's say schematic creation and simulation. That's what we are considering. Supposing I have a question, I'm watching the video, I'm practicing side by side, and at 4 minutes, 25 seconds, I have a question. 4 minutes, 25 seconds, I have a problem. So I will select between 4 and 5 minutes, and I will select between 20 and 30 seconds. Here I will have this question. So I have a question. So whatever question is, title please give the title properly. Some people have given title like, I'm a professor, I'm an associate professor. Sorry, we don't want your title. We want the title to the question that you have in mind, right? So for example, let me say schematic conversion, difficulty in NG spice conversion. It says similar previously asked questions. You can go and check whether the question is already answered. If so, you may just want to go there. You can open the link in a new tab, go and see. If it is already there, don't post it here. What's the point? It's already answered. Or if something is not answered for you, you post a comment there, right? So here you do this, and then you say that, can you please answer this particular question? I submit the question, right? All right, it is gone. So let me go to eSIM. In fact, it comes here, right? Schematic creation. This is the main page, by the way. Then I remember what we did. We clicked this, and then we clicked this, and then I clicked this. Of course, that was in 4 minutes, right? So it won't come in this page because it is 4, 5, and 20, 30. Let me go to the next. I think this is the one, right? Today is 11/2, Kannan, right? And then what is it? Difficulty in NG spice conversion. Can you please answer this particular question? And our people, let me delete this question. I don't need this. Okay. Our people are there to help you answer the questions that you might post. Because otherwise, how will I answer 100 people? There are 100 people taking this workshop. If I have to answer each one of you separately, how on the earth can I answer? Okay. And what we have is we have experts in different parts of the country who are available to answer your questions. Okay. They're ready to answer your questions, right? So you post it. We will try so that within 5 to 10 minutes, not more than 5 minutes, because it's a question of how many, how many queries are raised. If there are lots of queries, then it is okay. It will take some time, 5 to 10 minutes. But yours is there, or people are monitoring, they will answer immediately. Gloria is there, one of the authors, she will answer. Ashutosh has agreed to answer. He is in, I think he is in Wipro, Bangalore. He will be answering. And then we have our own people here. Is Mahanto there?
Sumanta is in college, sir.
Okay. So what are the reasons you should use the forum? We should ask the question. First of all, if you go and check, maybe it is already answered. So you don't even have to ask. Or you have to ask a subsequent question and you get your answers cleared. Second one is waiting time is a lot less. Otherwise, it will take a lot more time. Okay. Forum means you will get the answer a lot faster. Okay. Third thing is, it will be useful to you. Later on, you go and say that, look, I can do eSIM. And somebody asks, how do I know that you have actually learned all this? Look, I posted so many questions. I had so many difficulties. So I learned all of that. And not only that, you can even say, look, I have answered so many questions, right? Because you see here, look at all the people who have answered, right? Look at all the different people. So you can say that, look, I have answered so many questions. Okay, I'm very good at this. So it is going to be helpful to you, maybe to get an internship, maybe to get a job, maybe to go for higher studies overseas, maybe, interview, higher education within India. You may be able to show this. For faculty members, you are proposing a project based on eSIM, and the people ask, how do I know that you are good? Why should I give you money? Then you can say that, look, I've done all these things. These are all my students. They've all used eSIM, and I have answered so many questions of theirs. Okay, and they have done so many projects. And in so many projects, they have asked questions. And I have the proof, right? Same thing is going to happen even if you join industry. So this is going to be helpful to you. This is the third reason you should use the forum. Fourth reason is that it is going to be helpful to other people. Because all these people ask questions, it is going to be beneficial to you. In a similar way, you can help other people. So that is a very important thing. All of us should cultivate that habit that we should be helpful to the society. So if you do this, the thing expands, then there are a lot of nice things that are available to the public. So these are the reasons you should do that. So I think I have talked about everything that I wanted to. So let me stop the video now. All right. Are there any questions? If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Of course, you don't have to ask them now. You can always post them on the chat, and somebody will, I'll be, checking it, and then I'll be happy to answer. I'm completing this. Sorry, I have exceeded my time. Over to you, Professor Mahesh Patil.